Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from the basement bunker beneath Kello Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. It is really great to have you along. Kathy left an interesting comment here a few moments ago. Anyone else upset that apparently the only way to watch the Olympics live is on Peacock? Now we have to pay to watch? Oh, NBC will be doing a recap after the live facts. Bless their hearts. Yeah, I know when I was in the hospital following my stroke, the Olympic Games, the Summer Olympic Games were going on at that time. And this and you could see some of it. And man, they were promoting, NBC was promoting this stuff on Peacock just big time, that you had to go there. It is, you know, if you want to see the entire event, they will show you recaps maybe, but if you want to see the entire event, you've got to go and pay for it. Yeah, I'm a bit like, I would like to watch the Olympics. I think there is, you know, you look at these athletes who are not professional athletes for the most part. Now we've got professionals who are part of it, but for the most part, they are not professional athletes. And to watch that, there was always something about the Olympic Games. And I just think the left has, like, they poisoned everything else. I won't recap what I was saying on the air this morning, but I just think, like everything else that the left gets involved in, you know, the NFL, it was kneeling, and the American, you know, okay, we're going to kneel during the national anthem. They just ruin everything they're part of. It's just absolutely incredible. Brian is responding to Shannon's call here this morning. He would support voter ID, but only if the government provided IDs, because voting is a right. So I wonder if Shannon had ever bought a gun. Shannon used to be Art. He used to call, and and now he uses the name Shannon. And now apparently he's also on this page. I banned him from this page. Facebook, I should say. I banned him on Facebook because it was outrageous. You know, you'd come in and just like you hear him on the air, he's off topic. He can't respond, can't give a clear answer. And then when I press him on it, then he's off onto something else. And I just said, enough of this. I'm done. So what does he do? He comes up with a new name, new profile. He's back on the Greg Belfrage Show page, because when he called this morning, he's seeing a comment that I posted on Facebook earlier this morning, and he references the comment, and I didn't follow up on it because, you know, you're listening to the radio. Not everybody's a follower of mine on Facebook. And even if you are, maybe you didn't see the post. You don't know what the hell he's talking about. You know, it's just way too inside. But he references a comment that I had made on Facebook this morning. What was it? I want to share it with you because I had asked the question about the SAVE Act, and I said, just a thought. I said, Democrats would require ICE officers to wear IDs. They want them wearing IDs, but they oppose asking you to show an ID when you go in to vote. If anybody can make sense of that, good luck to you. It's the kind of drivel that It's just absolutely incredible. So it's why are you asking for my thoughts on Glenn Beck? I like Glenn Beck quite a little bit, actually. I follow him on X. A number of the things he says. Sorry, getting into the comments. Let's get to the news. I also wanted to highlight the number of subscribers. We are growing more and more subscribers on YouTube, and I want to thank you for that. We are currently up to 576. So as I've been asking you, we're hitting, picking them up more and more quickly. And I appreciate that very, very much. So if you're watching, if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, please become a subscriber. I won't inundate you with a lot of content. The only thing I do in YouTube each day is the 4th hour. That's it. And otherwise, if you want to follow me, I would suggest going to X every now and then. I'll comment there. Facebook, largely, I will set up a conversation in the morning, and then we do the 4th hour, and that's really the end of my involvement on Facebook. But I appreciate having you. Also, this morning, the big news story, and it was happening just as I was getting off the air this morning, the administration having a news conference. The U.S. has arrested one of the leaders of the 2012 attack on the consulate in Benghazi. So Attorney General Pam Bondi, Kash Patel was there, U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. They announced the arrest earlier this morning. And again, this would have been within the last half hour or so. And they said that he will now face American justice on American soil. Bondi said, "We will prosecute this alleged terrorist to the fullest extent of the law." And she said, "Let this case serve as a reminder. If you commit a crime against the American people anywhere in this world, President Trump's Justice Department will find you. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. You can run, but you cannot hide." Patel says he was arrested overseas, and there aren't a lot of additional details at this point. So TMZ apparently has been sharing more information about the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, and the kidnappers are making demands. Apparently, TMZ was on the Hannity program. Boss at TMZ, Harvey Levitt, told Sean Hannity last night. He said, "Is it Levin or Levin? I don't know." He said the kidnappers claim in a ransom note that was sent to TMZ that Nancy Guthrie is safe but scared, and she knows exactly what demands are being made for her return. So the note was sent 2 days after Nancy Guthrie was reported missing over the weekend. And he said, "I will say the letter begins by saying she is safe but scared." They go on to say she knows exactly what the demand is. They are, through us, telling the family exactly what they are demanding, and they are saying that Nancy is aware of it. They're also saying that this will be their only communication and that they are done communicating and negotiating. Here's the deal, and that's it. And he said, as the clock ticks, that's one of the reasons the FBI and other authorities have gotten desperate here, and he did not elaborate further. So he was on Hannity last night, for those of you who saw that. I did not see news of this until later this morning, which is why I'm sharing it with you now. Otherwise, I would have shared this on the program this morning. This story was fairly new at the New York Post. Also, get a load of this as we watch what's going on in Minneapolis. You know, the fallout continues. And now you have yoga students in Minneapolis at a Minneapolis Core Power Yoga studio berated staffers for being complicit in the federal immigration crackdown. during a caught-on-camera clash last weekend, demanding that they immediately condemn ICE. So you're at your yoga studio, and there I would expect then to participate in yoga, demanding that the yoga studio denounce ICE and their tactics. What kind of crazy lunatic, this just gets crazier and crazier, man. I mean, I have said this many times on the air before. I think, well, things couldn't get worse. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. They keep getting worse. I have stopped saying this. I have stopped saying things can't get any worse. Oh, yeah, they'll get worse. You just think things have gotten as bad and as outrageous as they could possibly get. Oh, no, you find more. So you're at a yoga studio, and you are forcing the place to condemn what's going on. So this apparently went viral on social media, and by a woman who says she has been a regular at this location for nearly a decade, shows at least 13 women spontaneously facing off against two female staffers inside the studio's lobby. And in response to this, the yoga chain is based out of Denver. They banned Anderson for sharing the video and otherwise came to the mob. They put up anti-ICE signs in their studios. What? I'm not making this stuff up. This story's at the New York Post. So, one Anderson could be saying, "Give us answers. Let's go. Let's hear it. Why are you being silent?" So she's heard saying it from behind the camera. So apparently she was one of the protesters then in the yoga place, apparently. And it continues. You should have well-rehearsed corporate action and words ready to go. Let's hear a GD answer, she's saying. The silence is deafening. You're in a yoga studio, and you have people who are working there. What? That is like batshit crazy. I'm sorry for the terminology, but that is just. So now you've also got middle school students in Salt Lake City, Utah, who staged a walkout there. Of course, they're middle school students. So what are they concerned about? ICE. They're concerned about ICE. So they walked out of school. I think if you give students any opportunity to leave classes, they're going to take it. I don't know how many of these students are now. Younger people tend to be very much to the left, and I think you are seeing that in this country. It's distressing to me how many young people we see who are just they're not just Democrats. They don't lean left. They are out of their mind, uninformed, left-wing crazies. So I used to believe, you give students the opportunity to walk out of class, they're going to walk out of class, whether they actually agree or not. But I would say, given what's going on in the world right now, and you have people who are demanding that a yoga studio denounce ICE, I mean, the level of crazy out there right now is odds. I've never seen it higher in my lifetime. So anyway, the videos of the walkout showed students marching through stores while chanting anti-ICE slogans because, well, that's exactly what you want if you're a store owner, right? You own a store. Come on in and chant your anti-ICE slogans. That's, the other customers, they just absolutely love that. I just want you to know the other customers, yeah, they really love it when you come in and you're engaged in that kind of nonsense. This is crazy, man. So the libs of TikTok had this, posted this on X, and they said middle schoolers in Utah staged a walkout to protest ICE. They threw stuff at cars, vandalized buses, protested through stores. Schools are turning your kids into leftist activists, says libs of TikTok. So American Greatness says the walkouts raise a lot of questions about how schools and some educators may be encouraging activism among young students who don't fully, you're a middle schooler. Remember where you were when you were in middle school, where your mindset was at? Admittedly, I will say kids are exposed to a lot more today than they did when I was young. I'm an old guy. So when I was in middle school, different deal. But just crazy. So you got them walking out. Greg Abbott said, it's about time students like this were arrested. Harming someone is a crime, even for students. Disruptive walkouts allowed by schools led to just this kind of chaos. And then he attached a video to this. He said, schools and staff who allow this behavior should be treated as co-conspirators, he said, and he goes on. So he called for legislators to look into stripping funding from schools that have abandoned their duty to teach students the curriculum that's required by law. So instead, and I have thought about this a number of times, that if I had kids today in school, I don't know if I could. Honestly, I don't know that I could. I think I would have to homeschool them. I would have to find some kind of arrangement that I would homeschool my kid, because you're really seriously, you want to send your kids into schools today in some places. I'm not saying that's happening everywhere, but wow. I would certainly be looking at a Catholic or Christian school at a minimum. I would be looking at a religious-based education for my kids, not a public school education. It's just absolutely crazy what's going on. There's a piece at the New York Post this morning, an opinion piece at the New York Post, how mega donors built a youth-led lefty protest movement. And I thought, well, that caught my attention. And the author of this piece makes the point I was just sharing to you: education increasingly morphing into political activism in America's schools as teens protest against President Trump's immigration policies, and they're gaining momentum. A supposedly youth-led leftist group that's fueled by mega donor money is leading the charge. Started in Minnesota high schools, then spread to schools in Texas, which I just mentioned to you, California, and Nevada. Students in recent weeks are joining school walkouts against ICE actions. Walkouts are pushed by the Sunrise Movement, which was founded in 2017 as a climate activist group. It figures. it figures. So you'll remember back in 2018, you had members of this group, this Sunrise Movement, that occupied Nancy Pelosi's office, and they were demanding climate change legislation. You remember that back in 2018? This is the same group, and now they're out there and they are funding and pushing this. A Sunrise Movement student guidebook warns that no politician can keep their job, no school can run as usual, no business can turn a profit if they side with ICE's violence over us. So this is what is being pushed then on kids in America's schools. Crazy times, my friends. that we live in. Okay, there was one other story. We've hit the 20-plus minute mark here. So one other story that I did want to share with you this morning that this is from townhall.com. A new woke euphemism for women just dropped. And this is Amy Curtis writing at townhall.com. She says the left, in their relentless pursuit of trans equality, have come up with some really interesting and offensive euphemisms for women. And you've heard some of these: birthing person, persons who menstruate, inseminated persons. I don't come up with these terms. Now they've added a new one to the list: partner with eggs. You seen this? And persons with eggs. We've called them women. I mean, that's how I grew up. We referred to them as women. Only women have eggs. Men don't have eggs. Only women have eggs. Only a woman can get pregnant. This is crazy. So I was looking at some of the reactions on social media. One said, I call her my partner with 24 eggs on her biweekly trip home from the farmer's market. Anyway, seriously, partner with eggs. Try putting that on your Valentine card this year, guys. To my partner with eggs. All right, you have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade, who are here each and every day. I shared some of their comments with you a little bit earlier, especially on YouTube. As I get the most prolific response from folks on YouTube, although you can find this both on Facebook as well as on X. And wherever you're following us, I really, really appreciate it. I want to wish you a wonderful weekend. You take care. Hope you enjoy the Super Bowl Sunday. For those of you who will be watching the game, I'll be watching the All-American halftime show on Sunday evening. Looking forward to that. So you take care. So long until Monday, my friends. Until then, I'm underground and gone.